Hey everyone, bringing you another video about safes and secure storage of valuables, but perhaps not the kind of safe you might be expecting. What is this large phallic looking thing? No, it is not a pleasure toy. Even everyone in this house, I think, is not that well trained. No, this is a safe. It is just not the kind you might be expecting. This is the Dirtyman safe. Although I came to quickly learn a few things about it that I was not expecting. Maybe you'll learn a few things too. Indeed, as many of you know, I don't do sponsorships on this channel. I have no ads. I have no corporate backing. You could tell that from the production values. But on occasion, I will show you something that I think is kind of neat. And full disclosure, Dirtyman, they reached out to me. I didn't know of them. I probably might have seen them around SHOT Show. They might have a small booth there. That's the kind of market that they would play in. But yeah, I had not heard of this company. They said, hey, you're a safe technician. You do videos about safes and safe storage. Would you be interested in this thing we make? I was like, oh, tell me about it. And they described it. I said, huh, sounds kind of neat. With the caveat, they've been very polite about this. I said, look, if you want to send me a thing, I'll get to it when I'll get to it. My life is crazy busy. These very nice people, they sent me this like months ago, I think, at this point. So I've been feeling highly unprofessional that I haven't gotten to it. But part of the problem is that this is something you use in the ground. And I don't have ground where I live. Um, Emily and Kimmy and everyone here, they do. So I actually brought it with me on this trip to North Carolina. And I was like, well, if we're going to check this out, I need dirt in which to operate. What is this? This is a secure storage canister that goes under the earth, simply put. While robust, heavy duty steel and locks and everything, again, that's all part of your security model. Obscurity, while it is not a sole solution, obscurity can play a role in your security model. This is a big thing, security and obscurity and everything. No, if you make something hidden, if you make a safe that is not easy to detect, that's part of keeping your stuff secure. It's why you don't put even a standard burglary safe like in your front foyer. You put it in a room that most people don't go into. Maybe you put it behind a wall panel or something in a different environments. This takes it to the extreme. The Dirtyman safe is a safe you bury. Now, it's not a locking mechanism. If somebody were to know where this is, they could find it and pull it up, yes. But if you have certain assets that you want to protect, maybe you distribute them. Maybe you put some of your valuables and gold and jewels and pirate booty in your safe, like in your basement. Maybe you put some of them, as I am a big fan of telling people to do, you put some of them in a different safe or lockbox in your friend's house or your relative's house. You distribute things out so that one disaster cannot claim everything. Part of that can be putting some of your expensive, valuable, precious things in the dirt. And in fact, I believe I was doing some reading about now the creators of this. One of the things that inspired them was the wildfires and natural disasters. And again, climate change is continuing to make a lot of these things worse all around the country and the world. We're going to see more extreme weather events. If your whole home floods or burns down, there are definitely situations where people's valuables have just gone up into smoke. If you bury something in the dirt, that is actually relatively protected from things like fire or, of course, discovery. Well, I'm here now. I have the safe, have some valuables I wanted to store. I was going to go for a little alcohol, tobacco, and firearms thing along with some money. But I quickly realized that plan might not fly. Because as it turns out, this is not the safe.
And these are not the hammer.
This is actually the safe. It is suitable for their purposes. Again, the creators talk a lot about putting gold, jewels, maybe some cash, things like that. This will maybe fit a tiny bottle of rum, just barely. I can kind of get her down there. Kimmy, her boyfriend had some cigars here at the house. So, yeah, you can kind of get that going on. I bet that actually doesn't even fit next. Oh, there we go. You can squeeze that next to the rum. Once you start getting into this situation, we have identified our first hurdle. Indeed, when the creator of this has given interviews, they've talked about the fact that firearms, while they are a big fan, are not the primary purpose for this safe. So even something like a stripped down receiver I was planning on basically experimenting to make sure that something like a 1911, a stainless steel, the most robust, corrosion resistant piece I have, I was going to put this just in the dirt for 6 months and it would probably be fine, right? That plan obviously is not going to come together. I could put the slide in here perhaps. I did have a thought. The fact exists that this house has plenty of other firearms in it, some of which are smaller than some of mine. Kimmy and Emily have some pistols. I think Kimmy, her wife, has a little Ruger. That might be better to try. Maybe I'll try that. Thank you. So even a little LCP or LC9. I mean, maybe if we do a teardown on this, she'll go. Oh, so close. So close. Yeah. Actually, wait, if I drop the hammer, will it go? Missed it by that much. So not a gun safe. Although, maybe they'll work on a bigger version. Because, as you can see, the parts aren't particularly complicated. This is just ABS pipe. I'm not entirely sure why they didn't go with PVC. It would be a little bit more weather resistant. But of course, the welded together joints, the chemical welds, that's going to work a lot better with an ABS kind of solution. What I will do is I've packed in my alcohol and tobacco. I'll shove a little fake money in there. Maybe we'll just grab a wrench or something out of the garage to simulate steel. And I do plan on burying this. Now, when you do put it together, I mean, it's a screw-on bottom. They give you some Teflon tape. It should be pretty weather resistant, but this is the Carolinas, right? You get a lot of temperature swings, you get a lot of moisture ingress. This would be a pretty good test. You might be wondering, why on earth is there this huge piece like this then? The whole purpose is not just to be buried easily, but the whole thing their design is to be retrievable easily. So instead of just ditching this in a hole and then spending half an hour, 45 minutes digging it back up, this sleeve and cap system is what you put in the earth, dropping this in, putting this on top, and covering it, with 6 inches, a foot of dirt. You could knock that out of there and then use this retrieval line to yank up, pulling the whole safe out of the ground relatively quickly. If you know where it is, you can grab it and get gone in the event of disaster. Kind of a neat idea. Their kit includes a sample little piece of gold bullion. Of course, the users are probably going to have some kind of weird African Krugerrands or something that they have that are all solid gold or whatever you people are investing in. A bunch of little coin holders, that's kind of neat. It does come with silica gel. When I do this experiment, I'm probably going to use my own. I have color shifting silica gel. Again, that I want to actually know how well this is doing about keeping moisture out in addition to keeping people out. As far as keeping people out, it's kind of cute. It does also come with ball bearings. The idea being if some very determined person were to try to wave a magnetometer all around your backyard and detect metal under the earth, they'll stumble over a lot of worthless things and get tired and give up before they could keep digging around until maybe they find this braided cable, this is probably a 301 stainless or something with a relatively low magnetic signature. And again, if you're using precious metals or maybe some steel, but it's far enough down in the dirt, that might not get picked up easily by a metal detector. It's all up to you and how you install it. This will not be easy to get into the earth. We're going to have to hog out some ground, maybe with an auger. You get the idea. You'd auger this down into the earth, drop the main safe in, and then the cap. This is not designed to prevent moisture ingress. This is just designed to keep dirt out of the hole, the most part of the hole. When you pack a little bit of earth on top of it, come by later, yank, and off you go to, I don't know, wherever you have a visa that you can travel to when this entire society collapses and we descend into fascism or something like that. But you'll have your gold and your valuables and your cigars on you. All right, so we've got our hole. Strongly recommend, if you're going to try this, that you have an auger, because busting through this clay and rock and everything with hand tools, I'm not a farmer, so F that noise. Now we are going to fill our safe with our booty, and we're going to kind of do that thing we talked about. We've got like an alcohol, tobacco, and we don't have firearms to go with our theme, but what we do have is just kind of a piece of crap hand tool, and if this rusts, well, it will prove that this is susceptible to water ingress and so forth. Speaking of, we have some little bags. Now, we mentioned that the Dirtyman safe came with desiccant. However, it comes with regular white silica gel type desiccant. This is, if you use this in your ammo storage, I certainly do, this is that color changing kind of stuff. So we are going to fill a couple baggies, both to try to mimic, you would have desiccant when you're packing stuff in the ground, but when we pull her up in, what did we say we're gonna do, 6 months or so? If this is not orange anymore, if this is green, we will know, hey, you had a little bit of ingress here in the moisture, and this would not have held out for, let's say, years. I feel pretty faithful about this, faithful enough to bet my money on it, my fake Hollywood money. And we're just going to hand tighten this, since that's what I think most people would do. And then the procedure is to drop that in, slide this John on over it. Now that is for your retrieval. And we pack dirt in, around, and down, and leave this ideally, well, just below the surface. Well, I forgot something, didn't I? You saw me talk to you about the features of the Dirtyman safe. Then you saw me bury it in the ground without Teflon taping the tube. Now, we could just test it anyway and see how well it would do, but if we're going to go 6 months, let's actually make a proper go of it. And this gives me the opportunity to see how quickly you could pull it up out of the ground, both freshly buried and 6 months from now buried. So here goes. All right, well, that's not too hard. I hate bugs. Why do people live near bugs? All right, everybody still looks happy in there. That's the grommety rivety thing on this cable, which is still holding true, but okay, noted. Okay. See you in 6 months. So that's the plan. We're going to bury this outside, and maybe, I don't know, in 6 months we'll check on it. We'll see how she fares, see if water's gotten in there, see if when the winter comes, if the frozen earth is actually something we can crack through easily and give her a yank out of the ground. We'll raise a glass. Zach will have a smoke in the backyard during the holiday party or something. Yeah, Dirtyman safe. Kind of a low-tech idea, but again, if your enemy is high-tech, you go low-tech. Just because something looks simple and looks inexpensive, and it is relatively inexpensive, relatively within reason, right? We did a little math on this. I think Kimmy and I were trying to do some numbers, and the whole bomb here, the bill of materials, not the pipe bomb, the bill of materials for all these different pipes and fittings, and generously, I don't know, this is maybe $50 worth of parts. and they're charging low three figures for this. They're, it's not exorbitant. It's like $170, I think, for this model. Yeah, you might think that's like, I could make that myself. No one's stopping you. Go do it. Home Depot's right down the street. You can get your own pipe. Or you can get the pieces already put together, all in a package that fits, with all the accessories. Like, I don't think it's a crazy price to be charging, and it's a very small business, right? You can clearly see this is kind of a person who has a neat idea. They're trying to crank it out themselves, and I respect that. I like entrepreneurial mindsets. So we'll let you know how it works. Maybe it works for you. I'm not endorsing this per se. I'm not making any claims about this, at least not for another 6 months till we dig her out of the ground. But I wanted to talk to you about it because I think it was kind of cute. Okay, thank you for sending me this, and thank you for everyone else who understands. 99% of people who reach out and say, "Hey, can we send you this?" I'm like, sorry, I just can't do it. And in fact, this one has reinforced that for me because I felt so bad that I didn't get to this sat in a box in Tara's and my basement for longer than it should have. You were very polite, you were very patient, and all of you will have to be very polite and very patient as we wait to see the results. Maybe everything works fine, or maybe I'm going to tell you around the holidays, boy, this thing turned into a turnip and, it just didn't work at all. I don't think so. Looks pretty good, but let's find out later. Whether you put your valuables in a safe in your house or you're safe in the ground, I hope that you and all your stuff, maybe even a tiny, tiny gun that you could shove up in there, stay safe out there.
The hammer is my penis.